your machine, you are actually buying machine, your laptops and desktops, right? So you have entire hardware sitting inside your home, and instead of doing that, what we can do, we can actually shift entire hardware to the cloud and only see the desktop, right? So that is basic idea of Windows Virtual Desktop. So in simple terms, this is basically desktops inside cloud. So we are going to move entire thing to the cloud. So in this session, I'm going to give you a fundamental understanding of what is Windows Desktop, and I'll give you a couple of links. You can try it out, and yeah, it is basically really good, infrastructure and feature available in Azure for you to move to the cloud. So yep. So before I'm going to my presentation, let me introduce myself. I'm Dilip Rajapaksha. So I'm working as a technical specialist at Ripe. So I'm also Microsoft MVP and Microsoft certified trainer. I'm also Microsoft certified solution architect. So you can tweet me if you have any questions regarding Azure, anything from Azure. I can help with you anytime. So my Twitter handle is DS Rajapaksha, and my LinkedIn is also there in my screen. You can send me any messages to my LinkedIn. I'm always happy to help you. And if you have any other doubts, you can definitely email me to my email address here in the screen. So make sure that if you have any questions or any doubts after the session, send me a message. I'm really happy to help you with any time. All right, so today's agenda, I'm going to give you kind of an understanding what is virtual desktop, and why we are actually using virtual desktop, and how it is actually working at a high level, and kind of requirements and prerequisites that you need to use virtual desktops, and couple of use case scenarios and applications, and a kind of a good understanding to get an idea about how much it will cost if you move entire things to the cloud. Yeah, so other than that, I'll try to do a small demo as well to show you how it looks like. So what is virtual desktop? What is Windows Virtual Desktop? So Windows Virtual Desktop is a kind of an application virtualization service that is running on top of cloud. So your applications are running on top of cloud. You are using your machine or your laptop or your mobile device or maybe tablet to see the desktop. But remember that the desktop that you are running is running on top of cloud, and they are consuming cloud infrastructure, RAM, CPU, everything in the cloud. So you can actually virtualize both virtual and virtual desktops, like desktop applications, desktop as well as applications. I'll show you in the demo how you can benefit applications as well as desktop. And you have this capability in Windows 10, what you call as multi-session, where you can give you one machine to multiple people. So if you have virtual machine running on top of cloud, what you can do, you can allocate 10 people to that virtual machine with Windows multi-session at the same time. So early days, this is also known as multi-point server, Windows multi-point server. Those days, now it is available in Windows 10. And even more than that, you can virtualize Office 365, Microsoft 365 applications, and optimize it based on multi-user scenarios. And also you can install Windows 7 or Windows 7 as well, and also with free extended security updates. And you can manage Windows 10, Windows Server, Windows 7 desktops as well as apps. So these three variants are available. So just to give you an idea, two sides. Left side, you obviously have the your side, your subscription. You are the owner of the subscription. And the right side, you have Microsoft. So Microsoft is managing compute, storage, and networking, as well as giving you the capability of clients, management, diagnostics, all those stuffs. And Microsoft is giving you these facilities for you in the right and left hand side with full desktop remote applications, and Windows 10 Enterprise, Windows 10 Enterprise Multi-Session, Windows 7, all those things. And other than that, you can use management policies like a group policy and some other things in order to manage users. So this is really good for a very large enterprise, right? So, or maybe small group of people. So we'll discuss about the use case scenarios. So why we need a virtual desktop? One particular scenario is it is really quick and cost effective. If you want to create a desktop and give it to your friends, give it to your colleagues, right? So we can quickly deploy it and give it to your people you want. So, and then it is very simple. And then it is managed service, right? It is managed by Microsoft, and you can get high performance as well. Not just like your machines that you are running on top of your home, right? On your home. So other than that, you can get GPU machines. For an example, if you want to play games, you can rent a virtual machine, right? using Windows Virtual Desktop and play games. So basically you don't need to buy an entire hardware, right? So you rent it out from the cloud. And security is really important. So nowadays, if you look at working from home scenarios, so security is really important because your employees, the colleagues are working from home. Sometimes there might be a security threat for machines. Because the virtual desktop is running on top of cloud, there's no security threats at all. And also the other most important thing is compliance. So if you are giving your colleagues the laptop in your office, right? So what will happen? The laptop can be lost or stolen, right? So in that particular case, someone can get your very sensitive data of your company. Probably it could be a source code. So what we can do, we can guarantee the compliance because the data is storage on top of the cloud, because you are not downloading anything to your machine. So this is a kind of a scenario that I have came up with very high level. So you can see here in the right hand side, we have the infrastructure. Microsoft is providing you the infrastructure, RAM, CPU and everything. For an example, we have one virtual machine running in Azure data center in Southeast Asia in Singapore. So that machine is 2 vCPUs and 4 GB RAM. And then we have a component called Azure Active Directory. You might probably heard about it. So this is a very nice feature where you can save your user information, so user login. And right hand side, obviously it is data center, right? And then data center is directly connected with the public internet. You have people in your organization premises as well as working from home premises, right? So probably your people may have to bring their own devices. For an example, they have a tablet, Android tablet, very cheap tablet, can be configured with Windows Virtual Tablet Desktop, because you are not using any of the machine, the client side devices, I mean hardware, right? So if you are using very small device like a very small tablet, so it doesn't matter, you have to have a mouse and keyboard, that's all. So you can connect to the Windows machine in the cloud without any problem. You just need to have only internet connection. So BYOD scenario, bring your own device scenario, is very very much popular nowadays, right? So during the COVID situation, a lot of organizations did that. They asked their people to bring their own devices, and then some of the organizations shift their entire infrastructure to virtual desktop, and then without any problem they can work from home using their own devices. It could be mobile app, right? It could be mobile or even a tablet. All right, so this is how it works in a high level. So we have the virtual machine running here. It is 8 CPUs and 32 GB RAM, and multiple users are using the same machine. This is one scenario. So multiple users are using same machine, because with this capability, multi-session capability, you can utilize 100% of your CPU. Otherwise what will happen? CPU might be very idle, right? So this is one scenario, which is called as one-to-many scenario, one CPU for many users. And this is one-to-one scenario. You can give personalized desktops. So one user, one virtual machine. So this is going to be very costly because it is going to be very expensive, right? So you are assigning one virtual machine to one person. But the previous scenario, you are just sharing one machine with multiple users with their own profiles, without any data issues, right? So you have their own people will have their own profile. And this is another way of doing it, something called as a host pool, right? In the host pool, we may have multiple machines. So this machine is GPU enabled machine. This is a normal machine, right? These two are normal machines, very general machines. So GPU enabled machines are shared with creative department. So normal machines are shared with finance department. HR department will be used another machine. So machine to machine, you can have multiple different kind of setups, configurations, right? This might have 8 cores. This might have 1 core or 2 core, right? This might have 4 cores, something like that. So this is one good opportunity for users to use, right, in terms of creative department, right? And if you look at the requirements and prerequisite in order to use Microsoft Virtual Desktop infrastructure, so you need to have at least one of these licenses, right? So if you are using Windows 10, you need to have Microsoft 365 E3, E5 or A1, A3, A5, F3, or maybe business premium licenses. And if you are going with Windows 10 Enterprise, you need to have Windows E3, E5, A3 and A5, right? So one of these licenses are required. If you are going with Windows 7, very similar to the previous one, if you are going with Windows Server as the machine, right? So you have to use Windows RDS CAL licenses, right? Client access licenses, remote desktop services. And other than that, other than these licenses, you need to have Azure infrastructure with Azure subscription, where you are going to spin up virtual machines, data disk drives, and user profiles and networking, all those stuffs. Alright, so these are a couple of very simple use case scenarios. Say for an example, you need to make sure that your applications and your employees are very secure in terms of the data, right? So, it is really important, right? Like for an example, financial services, healthcare services, and governments, the data is really sensitive. Let's say that in a working from home scenario, people are working from home, no one knows what is happening, right? So there might be security threat, ransomwares, all those stuff, right? So people, the scammers will call them, the employees, and the employees are kind of a victims of those, right? They will actually get caught on all those things, and then they will leak their entire data. Like for an example, financial report of an organization, it could be a possible scenario, right? So with Windows Virtual Desktop, data is actually in the cloud. No one can access, no one can remote in, right? So because of that, it is very secure. And if you want to allocate like a elastic workforce, for an example, if your application your organization is going for a something called mergers and acquisition, or maybe you are hiring a freelancer or short-term developer, right? So, or maybe a contractor, right? You can actually allocate in a Windows Virtual Desktop for them, and they can work during that time, and then you can deallocate them, right? Because you can make sure the data is protected, because if he's working on top of their own machine, right, there will be a kind of a vulnerability for the potential data leakage. And then specific employees, like bring your own devices, we discussed about that. And then specialized workload, right? So here we have specialized workload like game developers, software engineers, and graphic designers. So if they need the particular specialized machines, like GPU enabled high-end machines, because they are rendering the 3D graphics and all, so we can create a machine and then spin up the machine and give it to the person who are actually using. Alright, so this is a kind of a very simple cross breakdown. This is for the light users. So light users are very using very light applications like database entry applications, command line interfaces, and even Word documents, right? For them, what we can do, we can go with 1 to 10 users with this setup. So this entire setup, we have one virtual machine which is running on top of Windows. It is 2 cores and 4 GB RAM, and then it costs about $128 a month. So if you go with a storage account about for shared file storage, you can see it's going to be 200 GBs, right? This is an estimate, $57 a month. And then bandwidth wise, you may have to have a little bit more bandwidth, because from data center to the user, right, there's a bandwidth charges. So it is going to be about 1 terabyte that I have calculated here. It's going to be 122. So this entire setup is for per month basis. Per month you are paying 308 exclusive, right? So this one is excluding Microsoft licenses, like Microsoft 365 licenses. There's another component, Azure Active Directory Domain Services licenses. So without those, you have this cost. So this is for per month, per month basis. If you divide it by number of users, you can see it is very little, right? So it is going to be $3 a month or something like that, right? So $30 a month, something like that. Okay, so yeah, so this is one example, right? So you can take a look at it. I'm gonna quickly jump into my Azure portal and show how it works, right? So let me go to my Windows Virtual Desktop host pool, right? So there's this concept called host pool. So in the host pool, I have one virtual machine running here, and this drive, and all these other things, right? So this is my host pool, and this is the Azure Active Directory Domain Services. This is the entire network component. So we have Azure Active Directory Domain Services and a virtual network and couple of network interface cards, right? And a public IP address, right? So this is the networking portion. And if you go to here, we have the infrastructure portion. Here we have one VM, and this virtual machine is actually shared by multiple users. if I go to a Windows Virtual Desktop component here, so I have one host pool. This is a host pool, right, where my machine is running in south east US, right. So if I look at this one, you can see I have allocated this small machine, 2 vCPUs and 8 GB RAM, very small one. And then application groups, I have a couple of application groups. I have created a couple of applications. If I go to application that I have given, so I have given access to Access, Excel, GitHub, all those are applications. These are virtualized applications. So this is a virtualized desktop, right? So this is a virtualized desktop, and I have a couple of users that I have assigned, right? So in my work groups, so in the work groups you can actually allocate users, right, for each and every application group based on your Azure Active Directory. So from Azure Active Directory you can pretty much everything managed by Azure Active Directory in terms of users. So I'll quickly demonstrate how it looks like. So I have installed thin client, right? So Windows Virtual Desktop client here. So right now I have logged in with the demo user, right? So this is a thin client, right? So I have given all this access to these workspace applications as I showed you earlier in the workspace, right? So in my workspace I showed you here my application group, right? So these are the applications that I have allocated, that you can see pretty much everything here. I have given access to all these applications, right? If you want to go to desktop, you can click this and you can launch the desktop. Let's say for an example, I just want to use Google Chrome in Azure, right? So this is going to run on top of my machine, but the hard drive is going to be used in Azure side of things, right? So now Google Chrome is launching. So let's see how it is going to look like, right? Now it is launched. What happened? Okay, something gone wrong. What happened? Let's see once again. All right. Okay, wait. All right. So yeah, now my Google Chrome launch actually with some different settings. I think yeah. Now this is running on top of Azure, right? Not in my machine actually, right? So remember, this is not running in my machine. So if I show you speedtest.net, right? So this is the actual location of this machine is on Azure, right? So this is my actual one, right? This is my actual Google Chrome running on top of my laptop. This one is running on Microsoft Azure, right? So you can see the location, it is Microsoft, right? So the base location is Microsoft. So yeah, so if you look at how it looks like, right, you can see there's a small icon here to indicate that is running on top of Microsoft. So if I go to desktop, right, even you can use desktop. Sometimes there are issues, right? Let me refresh. Okay, let me try once again. I'm not sure why it is not allowing me. Okay, sometimes maybe because of yeah, if I open Notepad, this is running on top of again Azure, right? So not in my machine. So just like that, if you have 3D Max Maya or something like that, very graphic intensive application, what you can do, you can offload entire infrastructure to Azure, right? If you want to run Paint, right, that is also the same. You can run Paint. I'm not sure why I can't see the applications. Something pretty weird happening. Okay, I think it is running in behind the screen. Anyway, okay, let me try once again. Okay, all right. Anyway, so just to give you an idea, this is how it's to work, right? So just search for it. I'll be pasting a link to learn more about it in the chat window. So just go to that. So I have just pasted in the chat window. Just go to that. It will give you an idea how it works, right? So this is very brief overview of how Windows Virtual Desktop works, right? So if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat window, because we are coming to the end of the session. And at the anytime you can chat me or message me, right, in my all these contacts are given here. All right guys, so is there any questions or any doubts? Please send us in message window, right? So I don't see anything in the chat window or or in the comment section. All right, I think there's no questions. All right, so because we are actually running out of the time, let's wrap up our session for the day. And as I said earlier, if you have any questions, doubt, please reach out to me from my connection as well as Sovander, right? And also message me in this chat window. Sovander will share his presentation as well, right? Just go through it. All right, so with that, we'll conclude the session for January, right? So thank you for joining the session, and I hope everyone enjoy the session and learn a lot from this session, right? So yeah, so with that, we'll conclude the session for the year and for the month. So we'll meet next month with another new topics and with another new speakers. All right, guys, and make sure to subscribe our channel, right? So if you have subscribed our channel and go to meetup.com and make sure to follow our meetup link as well, right? So then you will get all the notification related to our meetup, and you are always informed. All right. With that, we'll concluding on the session. Thank you for joining and have a good week ahead and good night. Thank you.